The 2004 YZR M1 Yamaha will forever be remembered as the machine in which Valentino Rossi sensationally won Yamaha's first Premier Class World title since 1992, with the Italian's Honda contract preventing him from testing the machine until late January in 2004. Much of the bike's design was decided upon him without his input and without the input from his crew chief, Jerry Burgess. Despite the delay, Rossi and his race team and Yamaha soon began to manipulate the 2004 machine, refining it even further throughout the season, and would go on to win no less than 9 races. But this is the story of how that 2004 machine transcended Yamaha in the later years and brought together one of the most successful partnerships that we've ever seen in MotoGP history. Can you believe it has been 20 years since that test at Malaysia for Rossi and Yamaha? It's actually 20 years to the day that this video has released that Rossi would be testing in Yamaha and riding the bike for the first time. Yamaha's main target for the 2004 machine was to create a linear relationship between throttle opening and rear wheel traction, while exploiting the benefits of an inline 4-cylinder engine to achieve a higher level of agility while also maintaining stability. As mentioned, the machine went on to win 9 races and of course the World Championship with Rossi. But there were only 4 races where the Yamaha failed to reach the podium. That was Jerez, Brazil, Germany and Qatar. In summary, Yamaha felt that the strengths of the 2004 machine were its quick handling and engine management systems, but that it suffered relative to the competition, i.e. Honda and Ducati, in terms of acceleration and top speed, plus the lack of wet weather stability. Now, looking at that 2004 bike from the first test that Rossi had on it, when you see the pictures and you hear the stories, Rossi tested various engine characteristics and specs. Yamaha introduced the Big Bang engine and that was a success and it gave them a base to develop. Then they went to the final spec that we've just mentioned, which was the inline 4. They really maximized the strengths of the engine characteristics and the management. It meant having less power than the Honda, but it was more manageable. And like we have mentioned, the strengths of the Yamaha was the agility and how stable it was through the corners. Some of the diagrams that you see on screen are from an article that Pete McLaren, our journalist, wrote in 2005, and it just gives you an indication of how Yamaha changed their mentality going into the 2005 season. As you can see, RPM output, you can see you're going through the gears, 3rd, 4th, 5th, they were gaining more. And then the max speed difference, so they had increased their top speed by quite a bit when you see tracks like Mugello and also Barcelona. Fuel consumption was massively gained for Yamaha, as you can see. They gained a lot more in economy, so the bike therefore was easier to race. They had got their engineers to dial in the electronics and the management systems so that they were so good. But the development targets for the Yamaha as it progressed from 2004 into 2005 were 4 things: to maximize the inline 4 engine, to further improve agility and stability, to improve top end power and acceleration, to increase engine efficiency in fuel economy and engine output, to also improve performance in adverse weather conditions such as wind and rain. But in order to achieve these goals, Yamaha had to design a new engine and chassis for 2005. In terms of engine performance, the initial 2005 engine used at a Jerez season opener produced more top end power compared to the 2004 engine. Further engine developments later in the season increased the top speed even more, as you can see by the diagrams. Everything goes back to that first test at Sepang in 2004. It was a foundation for him seeing the bike for the first time and actually being able to test it. They expected the problems to be a lot worse, but Yamaha had in fact created a bike that just needed refined, and having the best rider and crew work on this bike with the experience of being on the best bike, which was the Honda for 2002 and 2003, it allowed them to actually gain a lot more than they actually thought in the early parts of 2004. Now, if you watch back the clips of that first race that Rossi had at South Africa and Velcom, the bike was massively underpowered compared to the Honda, but the strengths of Rossi on that Yamaha was its turning, its agility, and how stable it was through the corner. They were able to get the power down a lot easier compared to the Honda, and the key was for Yamaha to minimize wheel spin. The Honda, yes, was a faster machine, but with that bigger engine output and the seriously amount more of horsepower it had. The characteristic of that bike to use up the rear tyre was a big disadvantage when it came up against the Yamaha. In the first few rounds after the Africans Grand Prix, there was, how can we say, Rossi was getting used to the bike. They were going to circuits where the Honda was very successful, but the key point was them to then turn it around. Once they got on top of the issues, Rossi couldn't be stopped. And like we have mentioned, 9 race wins that season, and also winning the World Championship. Then into 2005, they completely dominated the championship. Their 50th anniversary as well, Rossi was unstoppable, and you can see his 2005 results are pretty special. It's hard to believe though that this test that took place 20 years ago shaped the early 2000s in MotoGP, and of course the relationship that Valentino Rossi has with Yamaha. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you remember this test? Make sure to subscribe to our channels on social media, like all our pages below, and we will see you next time.